Hi, I'm Tony Fleming, and this is Fleming's Ultimate Garage. Hey, thanks for joining us on today's video. What I thought I'd do is I thought I would run down this car a little bit just the same way you're going to run down to it once it's in your garage, all right? Because when you say a mouthful of, do you have a car? Do you have a cool car? Oh yeah, I got a car I kind of like. Oh really? Yeah, like, so what do you got? And so you're like, well, yeah, just a 454 Chevelle, no big deal. Oh, you got a 454 Chevelle? Oh yeah, 70, Super Sport. You do? Yeah. Turbo 400, 12 bolt rear end, forest green paint, miles deep, white stripes, white interior. It's a car, you know, just a car. It's the SS454 Chevelle. That's what you got. Yeah, that's what I got. How cool is that, right? That's why I wanted you guys to see this video, because first off, the color of this car is awesome, man. It's not like a regular red car or a black car. It's just so different because when you pull in the lights underneath into a show late at night, you're pulling your cool cruise in or whatever, you go to dinner in this car and you pull up and the valet parks it right out front, this thing pops like unbelievable. And the reason why, because the paint is so good, it has tiny bits of metallic in it like it's supposed to, instead of just flat green paint. So come on up here and I'll show you what I mean by that, all right? Remember, this video here, you should be looking at these letters here, and those letters need to be crystal clear. Not just that you can see the letters, but they need to be crystal clear, all right? On top of it, this car here has been painted its color, wet sanded, striped, wet sanded, and then the whole car re-cleared so that when you wash and wax this car, which you're going to want to do because that's the therapy for you, right? Because that's the therapy for me. I don't want to wire the dash or rebuild the engine, because I don't even know how, but let's say I did. I don't have the time for that, and neither do you. What you want to do is you want to wash and wax the car, you want to change some emblems, you want to do some fun tinkering stuff, and that's the whole idea behind owning a car like this, all right? So, having said that, this will keep the stripes from tearing over time. The car should look really great for a really long time. And you say to yourself, you know what, Tony, you're right, that is a good looking car. However, by saying that, a lot of times people don't really know why it's a great looking car, and so I thought we'd point out a couple small things that make a car pop really well. So the contrast between these great white stripes and this green paint is one of the reasons. Second, the interior is pulled into the stripes, so it looks like it's going through the entire car, right? It's part of a styling trend that they did there. New chrome and stainless in here. The SS call out in the grille, right? This right here breaks up the original or the typical Super Sport hood, because this is a real deal Cowl Induction Hood with the flapper door on it. So when you start it, the flapper door closes, you step on the gas a little bit harder, vacuum operates this door, it opens, it gets the fresh air from hitting the windshield right into the air cleaner, which you haven't seen yet, but I'll show you about that later. That looks really great, okay? One of those things. Next thing is the correct Super Sport wheels on here with the correct bias ply tires, which says a period correct Firestone wide ovals. You can get wide ovals or you can get the polyglass Goodyears, depending on what they had at the time. And both of these are great. So we do have disc brakes in here, which a lot of people forget to ask about. So Super Sport has to have disc brakes, and we'll make sure that if you're looking at cars, you know that this is a real deal Super Sport. And the one you're looking at, maybe outside of the safety of the circle of Flemings, is a Super Sport as well. Here we know because we have all the things that indicate it to be a Super Sport. We got these great call outs on the side. How you doing? 454. 396 is an awesome car, but the 454, man, that is a lot of motor. A lot of motor, all right? So, again, a couple small things like, look how nice the paint is. Wet sanded and buffed all the way down to the bottom, all right? And then things like the gaps. Look at the fit of this door. Listen. That's not a regular door. A lot of restored cars have that second and third rattle of the windows and the guts inside the door. Somebody spent some time putting this door back together, and hence that's why the car drives so well. So it's not only a great looking car, it's a great driving car too. Come on back here, the fit and finish here. This is always a problem on these cars when they're restored, because somebody puts the rear quarter panel on, they don't always put the quarter panel on correctly, then the trunk doesn't line up. People think, well, the trunk's out of alignment. It's not the trunk. The trunk is not the issue. The issue is the quarter panel. All right, and here the gap is really nice. The bumper fits like it's supposed to. Got the SS callouts here, the big tips on the back, and then if you look under here with me for a second, all right, it's mandatory F41 suspension hanging down. All right, that's your sway bar there. It's got the 12 bolt, and again, everything's a different color under there, as a restored car should be. The gas tank is silver. The rear end is black. The shocks are a different color. The exhaust is a different color. The whole underneath the car isn't black spray bomb to hide whatever's there. You know, I've seen black spray bomb bottoms, and they look fine. There's nothing wrong with that. But here you can tell the detail is just very different. It's just a different level car, that's all. All right, anyway, let's take our hood pins off. You know I love hood pins. Everybody say hi to Joe down there. Joe's agreed to be on video. All right, this is nice. You go to a car show, man, even if you don't go to a car show, you're gonna wanna open your hood in your garage. Somebody's gonna come over and go, wow, what's it? Oh, you got a 454 Chevelle? Shut up, right? Shut up. And you're like, I'm not gonna shut up, but I'm gonna shut up. Now you're gonna shut up because now you're gonna look, all right? Look at the motor in here. It is all motor. So some things to look for that make some cars a little more authentic than others. For instance, tower clamps, right? Winter's intake manifold. Well, tower clamps there, you say, well, Tone, why are you focused so much on the restoration of a car and some clamps? Aren't clamps like nothing? Well, you're right, clamps are not super expensive compared to like rebuilding the engine, but the difference is it lets you know these clamps here are probably 5 or 8 times more expensive than a typical band clamp, and these are period correct clamps. Those are the detail stuff that goes in there. GM hoses on here, the Cowl Induction air cleaner, it's the battery topper on here, so it looks kind of authentic as you do that. Vacuum actuators hooked up to the Cowl Induction Hood. It's not just a hood slammed on there. You see the brake booster is a different color than the master cylinder. The cap of the master cylinder is a different color than it's supposed to be, than it being just all blacked out. That's why it looks so good when you open the hood, because a lot of people say, well, that looks really great, but they never know why it looks great. And that's some of the reasons why everything looks here good. Detailed here, the radiator is restored, the firewall has been restored, the cowl tag is still on there like it's supposed to be. It's just exactly what you're looking for, and now you may have found it. Okay, so I wanted you to come up here and look. Actually, this has a trunk mat. They ran out of trunk mats, and we have this on order. So when you get one, it'll have it in it. But I wanted to show you the trunk regardless. Actually, it's better to show you the trunk without the trunk mat in it because the trunk mat can hide things. So what you want to be looking for is these deep ribs, okay, in here, all right? This has a spare tire and jack in it, all right? New gaskets, weather stripping, decals in here like they're supposed to be. This is like exactly what you want to go to a car show, be able to open that up and show that off. All right, so normally I would get in the front seat of the car, but I'm gonna trick everybody up right now because I'm gonna get in the back seat because I wanna show you something that I love so much about Chevelles, okay? So I'm 6'1", all right? I can ride back here, I can go on a date, I can take somebody with me, take the kids with me, whatever. And then sometimes in some of the smaller muscle cars, it's just not so easy to do that. That's why the Chevelles become so popular, is because it just fits well. And it's a great car for cruiser, man. You want to cruise the beach, you want to cruise out to dinner with another couple. This is cool. You can imagine what another couple must be feeling like when they get in this car, and instead of riding in your minivan or your sport utility or whatever, this car here, because it drives so well and it's got a little rumble to it too, you go to dinner, it changes the whole dinner feeling. It's the whole thing is completely different. The food will be better, the wine or the beer will be better, and the rest of your evening will be better. How you doing? All right, so normally I would jump right in, but I want you to hear something. I got reminded of, I could do that all day long because you know what? That is a sound of a nice restoration. Just nicely done stuff like that. All right, so a lot of people don't know, but this is not standard in these cars, right? This is not standard. These gauges here, not standard, right? This has buckets and console, which is optional, right? The Super Sport dash with the factory tach, all right? And gauges, optional, right? It had the Super Sport dash with these, but they typically had idiot lights and just a speedometer. This has a clock, it has a tach, it has volts, temp, fuel gauge, original AM stereo in here, right? And a nicely detailed, beautiful, great color combination interior with the white and the white stripes in here. So, having said that, if you wanted to, which we do for a lot of people, is we install an AM/FM digital sound system right in the glove box. That way you get your cool tunes through your phone or satellite or whatever you want. It's really inexpensive, and you keep the dash all looking stock. You don't have to cut the dash up because today's modern radios are much different. So, anyway, just an awesome, awesome interior car. And then again, there's just like a lot of room in here, man. Look how much room. I mean, there's a lot of room. And one nice little touch about knowing about a restoration is this. You hear that sound? It's annoying, but it's annoying for a reason. It lets you know that the keys were left in the ignition. How cool is that that still works, all right? Another thing about the level of restoration, you know, most people don't put that back into the car. It takes a lot to make all of that stuff work because there's a lot more components. That gives you an idea really how much time and effort somebody put into it. right, so we close up this video with a couple thoughts, thinking this out loud. This was probably a pretty expensive car back in 1970. For instance, we've gone to a Super Sport. We went from a 396 to the 454. A lot of these options we're throwing in here. Power disc brakes were standard, but like the wheels and tires weren't standard on them all. And the white letters and the bucket seats and the console, the Super Sport gauges, the Cowl Induction Hood, like these things add and add and add. Everything was a line item. Back then they didn't have all these packages that they do now. And so I thought it was pretty good. So anyway, the color, I love the color. The color is so hot. It's under the fluorescent lights when you're driving at night. It is spectacular. Out in the sunlight, it is ridiculous looking. And I don't know, it's just a really cool car. You throw out Chevelle Super Sport SS454. I think that they use at the end of most of these is enough said. All right. Anyway, call us 301-816-1000. We'll tell you all about this real deal Super Sport, and we'll find a way to get it in your garage. As equally great looking as this car is, wait till you hear how great it sounds.